5 stars. We have a Panasonic infrared toaster oven which is a bit small. You can't quite fit 4 full slices of bread into it. This, on the other hand, is quite the beast. It does a great job of toasting nearly 8 slices of bread at once. Where I think it starts to shine, however, is in replacing smaller baking jobs, such as making a quick batch of brownies or cookies. The convection feature really speeds up the baking and gives a much more even result. Since this oven heats up far more quickly than our full-size oven, I can see this saving energy and not heating the house up as much in the summer. If you have a large kitchen with lots of counter space, and you tend to do a lot of smaller baking jobs, this might be for you. At first I thought the cabinet was insulated, but I think it is only 2 layers of metal with an air gap in between. After being in use for perhaps 5 or more minutes, the top does become quite hot. If you have any questions, comments, or if you found this review helpful, please let me know. Review number 2. 3 stars. I ordered this based on an online video of this oven. I thought it would be a welcome help in my kitchen. I was primarily interested in the convection function of this oven. I was unhappy with the air fryer and thought perhaps the convection would work better. Since I collect Fiesta dishes and my kitchen is decorated accordingly, I chose the majestic yellow. I also chose this model due to the wattage and no-stick interior. I knew this was a large oven and would take up valuable countertop space, but was willing to sacrifice space to have the convection function and easy cleanup. First, it is a very well-built solid-feeling oven. The majestic yellow is a beautiful color which blended right in with my kitchen decor. I was disappointed that the top and sides are stainless color and not yellow. Since I have no stainless in my kitchen, that really stood out. I felt the control knobs were well made and easy to understand. It came with only 1 interior rack, which I found disappointing as there is adequate room inside to have 2 levels, which would be nice when reheating leftovers. I attempted to cook several items in this oven and to reheat several items. Unfortunately, I believe the one I received was defective. I repeatedly tried to use the convection function and nothing appeared to happen. I made sure I was using it correctly and it indicated the convection function was in use. There was no change in the sound of the unit, nor did it cook anything any quicker than my regular oven. Also, I was disappointed in the lack of instructional material with this oven. I would have thought KitchenAid would provide a wider selection of recipes and helpful hints. I also thought there would be additional accessories available. When all was said and done, I took a few days to think it over and decided since the convection was not working, I could not justify the cost or giving up counter space regardless of how pretty the oven was. I returned it and chose not to reorder. Review number 3. 5 stars. I love this little oven. It's perfect for an APT. On hot days I can heat something up quickly without heating up the whole APT by turning on the big oven. Review number 4. 4 stars. Fun, cute and practical all at the same time, but my last toaster/convection oven had 2 racks inside for the ability to cook twice as much at the same time. Also, the door sort of slams down, no easing or stopping of it. Painted portion is only the front side, not sides and top, which is fine with me because I figure the top and sides would just get scratched eventually if they had been painted. I was disappointed, though, because I specifically called KitchenAid to ask if this model had a cobalt blue enameled interior, as I had discovered some of these models indeed were advertised as having. After some investigating with the rep, he confirmed that this model would have the cobalt blue, enameled interior. It did not. Sad face. Other than these things, I am very happy with this appliance. It cooks nicely and looks very sweet on my countertop. Review number 5. 2 stars. I have to admit it, KitchenAid, I'm more than a bit disappointed. Or maybe it's Amazon. I can't really tell. Either way, I'm not happy. I am highly suspicious that this was a unit that was returned, repackaged, and resold to me. Bear in mind, I paid for this unit. This is not a Vine review. Let me elaborate. After my Breville toaster oven, which was also expensive, shorted out this past winter, January 2016, after just under 5 years of use, I was very leery to buy another one. But, I am single, and using a huge oven when you only want to make a few pieces of chicken or a small lasagna or 3 lousy cookies is a huge waste of energy, and it can make the house heat up when you might not want it to. Plus, I got used to the toaster feature and did not want to go back to my old slot toaster. The big deal with me on these things always starts with the door hardware. The more expensive ones have better hinges, and back when I was just starting out, I went through cheaper models because it was all I could afford, and darn if it wasn't the door hinge that always busted first. And the rest of the unit can still be totally operational, but if the door is shot, then there it went. So eventually I bought an expensive one with one of the nicest door handles I'd ever seen, Breville BOV650XL, the compact smart oven stainless steel, and I loved the thing, apparently, to death. I'm sorry, but 5 years is not enough of a life when you pay a lot of money for something and have to save to get there. And the amount they wanted to fix it was a joke. That version of customer service ensured that buying another Breville was not going to happen. But I needed to save some money up, because I was not about to go back to the cycle of buying cheapy ones over and over. So I knew I was going to have to wait, and during that time, I researched. I settled on this one, the KitchenAid KCO275AQ Convection 1800 watt digital countertop oven, 12-inch, and I liked the aqua sky color enough to get that one over the others. It is almost Tiffany blue. I put it in my cart, and waited until I had the cash for it, and then still waited another couple weeks to be sure it was what I wanted. Then I bought it. Again, this is not a Vine review. I did not get a discount for my opinion, and the amount I paid was hard to come by for a working gal. It came in a brown shipping box, with the KitchenAid box inside that. Good news for me, as I work all day and my neighborhood is not what it once was. But, it was also banging around loose inside the Amazon box, with lots of room to move from insufficient packing material. Bad job, Amazon. Then I noticed that the KitchenAid box had very messy clear tape on top of it, suggesting it had been opened and then resealed. On closer inspection, there were definitely 2 sets of clear tape and a dent in the corner. So right off, that got my hackles up. Upon opening, the frosted plastic that the entire package comes wrapped in was in one piece and had to be sliced to be opened. Better news, but I also know that that stuff gets replaced when an item is returned and restocked. That's why you have to pay those fees sometimes, kids. The directions, warranty, tray, and racks were all bagged up and did not appear to have been messed with, although the frosty plastic they were in was not closed with tape or anything, so I can't say. A piece of the styrofoam fell away when I lifted the unit out. Was it previously broken? I can't say. Here's where the fun began. The unit itself has some cosmetic issues, of the sorts that one does not expect from a brand new, never before been opened, expensive appliance from a brand such as this. With the attached pics, you can see, in no particular order, fingerprint smudges on the left side, not mine. I wash and dry my hands before handling new appliances. Mars, scratches, deep smudges? I just can't say, and dust on the right side. The glass on the door is not clean. The door is cockeyed, not much, but it is cockeyed. The top of the oven has the dried residue of someone having wiped it with a less than clean watery cloth and then not drying it off. The top also has Mars and dust and fingerprints. The printing on the inside of the door where it tells you what each rack is for is scuffed off on some of the letters. The door is also closing cockeyed in the top left corner. Again, not much, but I find that very irritating. Lastly, the crumb tray has a scratch in it. Not a smudge, a scratch. Also, see the KitchenAid box inside the Amazon box with layers of tape. The corner of the KitchenAid box is dented. The Amazon packaging material is severely lacking. Okay then. I'm sure some of this will go away with some cleaning and rubbing and buffing. Some of it, but not all of it. And in any case, who wants to have to clean a brand new unit of smudges and dust and residue and fingerprints? Am I expected to do that by the manufacturer? I'd find that hard to believe were it the case. Am I being too picky? Sorry, no, I'm not. I waited, I saved, and I paid for this highly reputable brand name item, and I bought it from a highly reputable online store. So, I have no idea what to do here. I plugged it in, and the display came on, no issues. I'm sure it's a great little oven. It's nicely designed, has great features, feels solid, except for that ever so slightly wonky door issue, and it is very pretty to boot, but I kept an eye on my tracking during the day, and when I saw that it had been delivered, I began looking forward to finally baking something tonight. But at this point I am a bit chicken to use it. I hate it when this sort of thing happens. What a hassle it's going to be for this very busy person to return this unit if it turns out to be faulty and that's why it was restocked. Also, the cockeyed door. I do not care how small an amount of cockeyedness, I do not like a cockeyed toaster oven door. Even on cheap units, that's just wrong. I'll give it a few days to see if Amazon and/or KitchenAid wants to woman up and address this situation, then I'll make a decision as to what I'm going to do. 5 stars. We have a Panasonic infrared toaster oven which is a bit small. You can't quite fit 4 full slices of bread into it. This, on the other hand, is quite the beast. It does a great job of toasting nearly 8 slices of bread at once. Where I think it starts to shine, however, is in replacing smaller baking jobs, such as making a quick batch of brownies or cookies. The convection feature really speeds up the baking and gives a much more even result. Since this oven heats up far more quickly than our full-size oven, I can see this saving energy and not heating the house up as much in the summer. If you have a large kitchen with lots of counter space, and you tend to do a lot of smaller baking jobs, this might be for you. At first though the cabinet was insulated, but I think it is only 2 layers of metal with an air gap in between. After being in use for perhaps 5 or more minutes, the top does become quite hot. If you have any questions, comments, or if you found this review helpful, please let me know. Review number 2.